Good morning and welcome back to another edition of LCTV News. I'm Dani Vittori, and this week, 4th of July celebrations covered the city, new projects are being proposed, and more. On the Lynn Lowdown, we met with Donecca Thurston and Joe Scanlon to discuss summer events at the Lynn Museum, as well as the celebration of their 125th anniversary. Here is the news for July 8th, 2022. Lynn is continuing the process of creating an unarmed crisis response team for the city. ALERT, which stands for All Lynn Emergency Response Team, will respond to a variety of situations, including mental health issues, conflict resolution, and substance abuse. To date, 3 consultants have been hired to create the team. They are Health Resources in Action, the Collins Center for Public Management at UMass Boston, and the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. They will be both presenting evidence-based practices to implement in Lynn, as well as getting feedback from stakeholders and public safety professionals. Led by the Lynn Racial Justice Coalition, the city spent $200,000 on development this past year and is planning to spend an additional $250,000 next year. Last Wednesday, Seth Moutlon announced 14 community projects for inclusion in the 2023 fiscal year government funding project. If approved, it would result in over $16 million in funding for projects across the 6th District through the 2023 Appropriations Subcommittee bills. It would help communities in a number of categories, including healthcare, housing, public transportation, and public safety. The Lynn Senior Center would receive $1 million to help with upgrades and renovations to the center. Lynn Community Health Center Pharmacy would also receive $1 million to create this pharmacy, focused on serving Lynn residents with affordable prescriptions, especially those who are uninsured, underinsured, and low income. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, or DESE, will be launching Mass Links, the first fully virtual educational option for Mass adults looking to earn their high school equivalent or English language instruction. This program will be free to all adults in Mass and allows the flexibility to take classes that fit with their schedule. Mount Wachusett Community College is partnering with DCSE's Office for Adult and Community Learning Services, the ACLS, to provide the instruction. This program will reach those who are not already being served by ACLS-funded programs, as well as work in tandem with the 80 existing local training providers. To learn more and read the full article, visit our website, LynnTV.org. This Sunday, July 9th, marks the 5-year anniversary of the Lynn Community Health Center's mobile market. In partnership with the Greater Boston Food Bank, they provide between 9,000 and 12,000 pounds of food to over 450 households on the first Saturday of every month. This market takes place year-round in the Deborah Smith Walsh Recuperative Care Center parking lot. It is staffed by both LCHC employees and volunteer help. Over the past 5 years, they have averaged 1,109 people per month, the equivalent of 420,283 meals distributed. They also partner with the Commonwealth Care Alliance, who provide 450 insulated bags, which are then filled with the food provided by the Greater Boston Food Bank. Their partnership is one of many with health centers, whose purpose is to provide healthy food for healthcare patients and community members who most need it. For more information and to read the full press release, head to our website, LynnTV.org. Essex County Habitat for Humanity is offering 1, 2, and 3-bedroom duplex homes in Hamilton as part of a 10-home development. There will be an informational meeting Tuesday, August 9th at 14 Union Street, Hamilton at 6 p.m. There will also be a virtual meeting Saturday, August 13th at 10 a.m. Go to essexcountyhabitat.org/current home ownership opportunities to register for the meeting. Also, go to essexcountyhabitat.org/application to get the applications and instructions for how to apply. The deadline for applications is August 31st, 2022. Over the weekend was the annual reading of a Frederick Douglass speech. This event was held at the newly unveiled Frederick Douglass Park, moving from High Rock Park, where it had been held for the previous 10 years. Sponsored by the North Shore Juneteenth Association, it was an afternoon of performances, surrounded by local vendors, concluded with the reading of the speech. Here is a look at the event.
Thank you so much for coming out and helping us with this Frederick Douglass reading. This is the North Shore Juneteenth Association's first year doing this event. And I want to thank Wendy Joseph for handing it over to us.
I wanted to talk to you about this drum right here because it's a beautiful instrument and its name means to gather peacefully. This is called the djembe.
This is such a marquee event, and to have it in a marquee spot like this is really exciting for the city of Lynn. It's an important part of our local history, the role Frederick Douglass played, particularly now as we are celebrating the nation's birthday. It's important to recognize that part of our country's history that isn't talked about.
And my dream has come true that I'm able to hand this fabulous program sponsored by Mass Humanities over to these young activists who are really taking this on, and they're going to make this program their own.
Fireworks lit up the sky all across the country in celebration of the United States' 246th birthday. Red Rock Park in Lynn was filled to the brim with people old and young alike, all eager to watch the show. Lois Lane and the Daily Planets returned for their 17th year to give one final performance before retiring from the event. People gathered to dance in front of the stage and show their appreciation for the group. As the sun set, all attention went to the sky as the first fireworks ran out to begin the show. Here is a clip from the event.
Series now for 15 years. We appreciate and acknowledge all the wonderful family, friends, and fans who have faithfully come every year and to support us in our music.
The first in-person meeting of the Kiley Park Task Force took place last Wednesday at Kiley Park. Permanent members of the task force were elected. Several members, including Ward 3 Councilor Coco Allen Sung, took turns speaking about the importance of the task force and their main goals.
The reason why we're here, this is the second Kiley Park Task Force meeting. ARPA money, there's 16.3 million, that's an M, allocated for 7 parks in the city of Lynn. And this park is one of the 7 parks. This is where you guys come in because I want input coming from you guys. So formally, we're going to open this meeting by introducing ourselves. Why are you here and what interests you with being part of the Kiley Park Task Force?
Was already bothered by how this park is pretty much, the majority of it is unusable 75-80% of the year because of this fencing situation.
But I don't think there's enough law enforcement covering this neighborhood for all the drugs and the kids that are causing harassment.
There are major flooding problems in this area, and I think there's an opportunity to put a reservoir underneath this park that will catch all that water.
I think that we have an opportunity to show that we have respect for this park. I think we can look at that park structure, which is one of the newer ones here, and show that it doesn't really look like there's any respect for what's going on here.
Yeah, in a brightly lit place. So I think with bringing in the community events, bringing in people, there will be fewer of that. If they see that this is a sketchy park, they're going to do sketchy things.
Like, more things for the kids, with special needs, kids for, like, with autism, that are autistic, legally blind,
And then I'm going to leave this notebook, and if you are interested to be part of the task force will be headed by Lisa Pratt, who is the prison captain here. There'll be meetings here and there. You'll be meeting here, or probably Zoom meeting, and there'll be an agenda moving forward. And from there'll be communication between the city and this task force. Again, it's a long process, but this is very good that we're having this conversation now.
Now for the sports update. Janelle Aguero is coming home to Lynn to play his senior football season for St. John's Prep. Aguero is 6 foot, 195-pound safety who is among the top prospects for the 2023 college year. Aguero began high school at St. John's before spending the next 2 years at IMG Academy, a school in Bradenton, Florida, which is designated for high-level athletes. He currently has more than 50 scholarship offers from Ohio State, Georgia, and Alabama, to name a few, and is considered one of the best safeties in the country. In addition to football, he considers family to be important, saying, quote, "I feel like family's everything. I'll be graduating in December to get early enrollment in college, so I want to spend some time up here before I go wherever I go," end quote. He will be making his college decision public on July 23rd, making him the second St. John's Division I recruit. The Navigators saw their first winning streak of the season when they won 3 games in a row before losing 7-6 in 11 innings to the Newport Gulls on the 4th of July. The Navs beat the North Adams Steeplecats 4-0, the Martha's Vineyard Sharks 5-2, and Mystic Schooners 10-7. They are now 6-18 on the season and are beginning to generate more offense, with 26 runs in the last 5 games to support their pitching staff. Jake McElroy is leading the team with 21 hits and 9 RBIs, and is third with his .266 batting average. Jonathan Leuters has the best batting average on the team at .346. Leuters joined the team later in the season, having only played 8 games so far. In those games, he has made his presence known, with 9 hits and 3 RBIs. The Boston Red Sox began a 7-game homestand on Monday, full of AL division rivals. The Tampa Bay Rays will be in for 3 games before the first-place New York Yankees come to town for 4 games. The Sox began the homestand with a 4-0 victory over the Rays before losing the next 2 nights 8-4 and 7-1. They currently sit in second place in the AL East at 45-37. They are tied with the Rays and are half a game ahead of the Toronto Blue Jays. And that is your sports update. This week on the Lynn Lowdown, we sat down with Donecca Thurston and Joe Scanlon to discuss the 125th anniversary of the Lynn Museum, as well as other events happening this summer. Here is the Lowdown. Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, the news director here at LCTV, and today I am joined by two people from the Lynn Museum, LynnArts. We have Donecca Thurston, the executive director, and Joe Scanlon, the president. Thank you for joining us today on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Of course. So, do you want to just start by saying a little bit about what your roles within the organization are?
Yeah, sure. I'll let Joe go first.
I'm president of the Board of Trustees of the Lynn Museum, LynnArts, and I've been on the board for 31 years. I've been president for 12, and my primary job is to hire an executive director and to make sure the executive director does his or her job, and to keep the board informed and coordinate the activities of the board and handle a variety of business matters. So, leaving the day-to-day to the director.
Right. I'm the executive director that he hired, well, the board hired in late 2019, and I guess I oversee all of the day-to-day operations, anything that you name it, exhibitions, education initiatives, fundraising, programming. I sort of have my hands in everything at the museum.
Right. That's great. And where are you located in Lynn? Where's your physical building?
So our museum building is at 590 Washington Street in Lynn, and then the LynnArts building is at 25 Exchange Street.
Okay, and those are?
Adjacent, shall we say?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Part of our cultural campus.
Okay, right. I like that name.
Thank you.
That's what you call it.
We did merge with LynnArts in 2014. Mm-hmm. But LynnArts was a separate organization, but where we share multiple facilities, parking, and everything else, it made sense to merge.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me. And you have actually, you're just celebrating this year, your 125-year anniversary of the museum itself. That's pretty cool. Did you do anything to celebrate it?
Yeah, so we're fortunate to have a steering committee of folks made up of both board members and members of the community, as well as some former directors for the museum, and we've been planning all year round. So we had our first birthday event, was a celebration on April 27th, which was our actual 125th birthday. We raised a glass, although I wasn't there myself. Unfortunately, I had COVID at the time, but Joe was the master of ceremonies. Could talk a little bit about the event.
The event really was well attended. And the highlight of the evening was the executive director, appearing via video and automatically doing a change from one piece of clothing. I don't know what the right word is, but from a set of clothing.
I did a costume change where I snapped my fingers, and then I was in like a whole gold outfit. You know, I had to do it up for the birthday.
It worked. It got everyone's attention, and it was probably the most talked about event of the evening. But that's what you need, liven these places up a little.
Yes, absolutely. And then we also released a beer at Bentwater last month, June 11th. They brewed a beer inspired by the Lynn Museum and Historical Society, the Matt Zelliger draft. Unfortunately, it's not available in the taproom anymore. It's sold out a lot quicker than we anticipated, but that was part of the fun. We've also done a couple of walking tours in Nahant with Ken Torino and Chris Mathias, and then we have a number of events coming up this fall as well.
Yeah. Just to be clear, the original name was the Lynn Historical Society.
Okay.
And just prior to the Civil War, Nahant and Swampscott were part of Lynn. Hence the walking tours in Nahant. There's a lot of the history that went on in Nahant actually occurred when it was part of Lynn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it covers that history as well.
Oh, yeah. It goes back to the 1629, the whole thing.
That's really cool. And it says, 10,000 artifacts?
Yes, so our main mission remains the same, even back when we started as the Lynn Historical Society, is to preserve, collect, and interpret the rich history of Lynn. So we maintain a collection of over 10,000 artifacts and objects that have been donated to us over the years. We have a significant American decorative art collection. We have a large print manuscript collection, which is temporarily off-site at the Phillips Library through a unique partnership with the Peabody Essex Museum. And then we have a number of objects that live on site at the museum. So if you do come to the museum, what you see is just a fraction of what we have in the collection.
Yes, I can't even imagine that many artifacts. It's like so many. And if you want to see them, saw on your website, there's tours, so there's ways. So would that be like more of a guided tours, or you just come in and you get to look yourself?
So most people that come into the museum, it's self-guided, although we're happy to arrange a guided tour or group tours. We've only partially reopened since the pandemic, so right now we're open Thursdays and Fridays 10 to 5, and then every second Saturday of the month we're free and open to the public from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We usually have an art making activity or something special going on. So this Saturday, July 9th is it July 9th or July 10th? I don't even know.
Saturday's the 9th, I believe.
Okay, very good. I'm losing track of my days. But we have a walking tour of Lynn Woods in the morning, which is a partnership with the Greenbelt. They're doing a lot of preservation work in the woods, so we're excited to partner with them.
That's great. That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
The museum, Lynn Historical, has always had a connection with Lynn Woods. Probably because the same people who founded the Lynn Historical Society were instrumental in putting the woods together.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm learning. This is great. So you seem to know a lot about the history then of Lynn as you're talking about it as well. So were you a part of the society like before you became a board member, or do you just...
I was a member of Lynn Historical before I was a board member.
Just wondered. Wasn't sure if it was like you're just really interested in history, so you were curious, you were more involved, and then became...
No, I was a city council for a number of years, and when I stepped off the council, I was asked to join the board, and I've been there ever since, actually.
And Joe is a big history buff.
Yeah, that goes without saying, too.
Yeah. No, that's great, though. It's really interesting that you have that. And you were talking, too, about some additional events you have this summer. So is that exhibitions? Or are they more events like you were talking about before, outside? Is it a mix?
Yeah, definitely some outside events. There's a LynnArts festival coming up later this month. We're going to be open free to the public with some programming. History and Hops is coming back. That's one of our favorite events of the year. It's a beer tasting that we do annually. The last time we did it was in 2020. We actually ended up doing it virtually, which was a nice success. But this year we're back and in person. We're also going to be doing a scavenger hunt prior to that event. And then we have a couple of exhibitions that'll be opening later this summer and fall, one of which is celebrating our 125th anniversary, so you'll get to see some newer objects to the collection, as well as some fan favorites and perhaps some objects people haven't seen before.
Well, we are very fortunate to have a facility like we have in downtown Lynn, with a very unique partnership with the Department of Conservation and Recreation, the state. It was the former site of the Lynn Heritage State Park.
Okay.
And that allows us to maintain our exhibits, display our exhibits, and have a terrific outside venue for all these events. I believe the beer tasting will be outside, right?
That's what we're hoping.
Yeah.
Weather cooperates.
Yes, hopefully it does. It is great. I've been there a few times, and you have a very nice setup there, because you have that, then you have the Frederick Douglass Park kind of
right next door.
to you.
Yep.
Which seems like a great outdoor space.
Yeah, we're fortunate that we received a permit through DCR to activate the park space once a month as part of our Final Fridays program. So that's every last Friday of the month, June through October. We have some outdoor free events, so come on by later this month.
That's great. That sounds like fun. And do you know what your Final Friday event will be for this month?
Yep, we're bringing back our Art in the Park theme. This year we're focusing on youth, so we'll have some youth artists and performers performing. We'll have some vendors as well, and as well as some food, because you can't have an event without food.
No, of course not. Of course not. Food's the big draw. It always is. So would you say, like, the Lynn Museum is supposed to be for everyone, so do you sometimes do specific events for youth or families, or is it more like the general history, would you say?
I would say all of our events, everyone is welcome, but we do have events targeted towards students or families. Usually we have free family days. We've had to sort of bring those back in moderation due to the pandemic. We have a monthly lecture series, which has been over Zoom, called MESA, Museum Enrichment Series for All. That's every second Wednesday of the month at noon. That's open to everyone. We usually had a significant senior audience, but now it's sort of opened up now that we've transitioned to Zoom. So we try to have something for everyone.
Yeah, it's always been the case. Because if you were to just appeal to history buffs like myself, you wouldn't have anyone coming in. It's a very small set of people, so you really have to appeal to the whole community. That's what's important. It's so important to generate interest in this with the youth, because I know that's when I became interested. As a young person going down to the old home on Green Street, I was fascinated by the things in the building at the time. And when I was asked to join the board many years later, I said, "Oh, I know all about that place." Well, it turns out I didn't. But
it sounds like you do now. You learned a lot through it.
You get forced into it. Yeah.
So, that's great, though. It is. It sounds like it's a great organization that you get to do a lot of good things. Is there any last things that you'd want to say about the museum or LynnArts or anything?
Yeah, I would say for the LynnArts building, it's a unique, special relationship that we have in that all of the spaces within the building are leased out, either to local practicing artists. The theater is leased out to Arts After Hours, our local community theater group. And then our gallery spaces are being activated by galleries at LynnArts. They're their own nonprofit space made up of artists from the community. They have rotating exhibitions every 6 to 8 weeks. So it's nice to have both dedicated space for artists and practicing artists, but they also do their own programming, which serves the wider community as well.
Right.
And it all works. That's the important thing. All these partnerships work. Right. And the intent is to perpetuate arts and culture in the downtown Lynn. And it all works. Everything comes together. And I couldn't be prouder of the organization than I am now at 125 years old, that we sustained ourselves, we're still here, we're still fulfilling our core mission.
Your core mission of
preserving Lynn's history, really. Lynn has a tremendous history.
It does.
It does, and it's one of the oldest communities in the country. Yeah.
It is. It's awesome. It's very impressive, and it's great that you can do that. And I'm so happy you're here to talk about it and tell people more about the events, more about the place, so that it really gets the recognition that it deserves.
Yeah. So I'm happy to do it too.
Yes. And for folks looking for more information on our exhibits or what we have going on at the museum, just check us out at LynnMuseum.org. We also have information on LynnArts on our website as well.
Great, that's great, and we have that up on screen, and we will be sure to include that. So thank you for watching this edition of the Lynn Lowdown. That is all for this week. Join us next week for more news from Lynn. Now for the community calendar. A community carnival and FRC location launch will be happening tomorrow, July 9th, beginning at noon at 16 City Hall Street. Summer youth track meets will be held beginning Monday, July 11th at 6:30 p.m. This is the first of 6 weekly meets, which will include multiple events for multiple age brackets. The meet will take place at Hood Park on Holyoke Street, across from Lynn Classical High School. A concert will take place at Red Rock Park next Thursday, July 14th from 6 to 8 p.m. Featuring Fifth Gear, head down to enjoy some free music on a summer night. This is part of a larger Red Rock Park concert series happening this summer. For a complete list of events happening and for more information on the events mentioned, head to our website, LynnTV.org. That brings us to the end of this week's news. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page and visit our website, LynnTV.org, to view this video and more anytime on any of your devices. Also, follow us on Instagram at Lynn Television or Lynn Community Television on Facebook. I'm Dani Vittori, and we will see you next week for more local news.